15 years spent building a successful company and $0 saved for retirement. I see this way more often than you'd think, but it doesn't have to be this way. If you're a business owner without a retirement plan, you might be leaving tens of thousands of dollars on the table every single year. I recently met with a business owner who was on track to pay over $50,000 in federal taxes. Thankfully, within 90 days of implementing a retirement plan, we reduced their annual tax bill by more than $10,000 while financially getting their retirement on track. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Daniel Miller, and I help Gen X families and business owners build wealth strategically and use it purposefully. I specialize in working with entrepreneurs who want their financial decisions to reflect their values, not just building wealth, but building it wisely and directing it toward what matters most to them. Today, I want to share what most business owners don't realize about retirement planning until it's almost too late. You and I don't know what we don't know. And when it comes to retirement planning as a business owner, what you don't know can cost you significantly. Most business owners I meet are brilliant at running their companies. They know their industries inside and out, but the tax code and retirement plan rules, how to structure savings in a way that protects their family and supports their long-term goals, that's not what they built their business to study. The problem is, without a retirement plan, you're not just missing out on saving for the future, you're voluntarily paying more taxes than you need to. And those tax dollars could be working towards your retirement, your kids' futures, or the causes and people you care about. In this video, I'll walk you through the real-world retirement planning strategies I use with business owner clients, not the generic advice you can Google, but the nuanced decisions that actually move the needle. I'll share why the right retirement plan's on more than just contribution limits, the specific client story I mentioned, and how a simple 401k plan saved them over $10,000 in taxes while catching them up on 15 years of lost time, what stops most business owners from acting on this, and how to overcome it. And finally, the questions you should be asking before you choose any retirement strategy. Let me tell you about Mark and Jennifer, not their real names, but a real couple. They're in their mid-40s, Gen X business owners who built a thriving company in the trades. Revenue was strong, profits were healthy, but when we sat down for our first meeting, they admitted something that felt embarrassing. They had nothing saved for retirement. Zero, after 15 years in business. It wasn't because they were reckless. It was because every dollar went back into the business or into providing for their family. They assumed they'd figure it out later. But later had arrived, and they were staring down the reality that they might never be able to retire. What made it worse is that they were paying about $50,000 in federal income taxes that year. When I showed them how much of that could have been redirected into a retirement plan, tax deductible, they were stunned. We implemented a safe harbor 401k plan for their company. Here's what happened. They were able to contribute as both employer and employee, maxing out their contributions. Their personal tax savings exceeded $10,000 per year. Their employees got access to retirement benefits for the first time, which helped them with retention. And most importantly, they finally had a plan. They went from zero saved to being on track to retire in their mid-60s with financial security. But here's the nuance that most people miss. We didn't just pick the best retirement plan. We picked the right plan for their cash flow, their employee situation, their tax bracket, and their timeline. A SEP IRA wouldn't have worked because they needed the higher contribution limits. A solo 401k wouldn't have worked because they had employees. A cash balance plan was too complex and expensive for where they were. The right answer wasn't what sounded best on paper, it was what fit their real life. So why don't more business owners do this? There's 3 reasons. The first I see is thinking it's complicated. And yes, retirement plans have rules, but setting one up is far simpler than most people realize. The real complexity is choosing the right one, and that's where working with someone who understands your full financial picture makes all the difference. Second is thinking they can't afford it. But remember Mark and Jennifer, they weren't finding extra money. They were redirecting money they were already paying to the IRS. The plan paid for itself in tax savings. Third, they've been waiting for the perfect time. Here's what I've learned after years of doing this. The perfect time was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. Every year you wait is a year of compounding you'll never get back and another year of overpaying in taxes. But that won't be you anymore because now you know what's possible. Let me give you the framework I use with clients. This is not just a list of account types, but the actual decision tree that I help them think through. If you're just starting out or have irregular income, an individual brokerage account or Roth IRA might be your starting point. You need flexibility and liquidity while you're building. Yes, you lose some tax advantages, but you gain accessibility and simplicity. If you're established and have consistent profit and want simplicity, a SEP IRA is often the easiest entry point. You can contribute up to 25% of your compensation, and you're not locked into contributing every year. I use this with clients who are solo entrepreneurs or have very small teams. If you're self-employed with no employees or just a spouse, a solo 401k often makes the most sense. You can contribute as both employee and employer, which can get you to total higher contribution limits than a SEP. Some plans allow Roth contributions, which can be powerful for tax diversification. If you have employees and want to maximize your contributions, you're looking at something like a safe harbor 401k. This is what worked for Mark and Jennifer. Yes, you have to contribute for your team, but that's often a feature, not a concern. It helps with retention and allows you to save significantly more for yourself. If you're a high-income business owner in your peak earning years, that's when we start exploring advanced strategies like cash balance pension plans or defined benefit plans. We have clients contributing $200,000 per year in tax-deductible contributions. But these are complex, expensive to administer, and only make sense in specific situations. The point isn't to pick the best plan, it's to pick the right plan for your income, your team, your cash flow, and your goals. And those things change, which is why this isn't a set it and forget it decision. Here's what I want you to take away. You don't need to have it all figured out today, but you do need to start. If you're a business owner without a retirement plan, you're likely overpaying in taxes and undersaving for your future. The good news is that this is fixable, and the time to fix it is now, not when you're 60 and wondering why you waited. I work with Gen X business owners and families who want their financial planning to reflect smart strategy and purposeful decision making. If you want to explore what might make sense for your situation, connect with me on LinkedIn or use the link in the description to schedule a conversation. And if this was helpful, share it with another business owner who needs to hear it. You might be the nudge they need to finally take action. Mark and Jennifer's story doesn't have to be yours. You don't have to wait 15 years to start. You don't have to keep overpaying the IRS. And you don't have to figure this out alone. Let's build a plan that works for you and your family strategically, intentionally, and with your long-term goals in mind. Reach out using the first link in the description, and we'll talk.